You've begged Allah, you've cried at night, you've walked away from sins you never thought you'd let go of, and still, nothing. No answer, no movement, just a life that feels stuck, like you're being punished for doing the right thing. But what if this isn't punishment at all? What if Allah is delaying everything to protect everything? 1. Because you're measuring readiness with earthly eyes, but Allah sees what you can't. You're doing everything you can. You're praying every day. You're staying away from the wrong people. You're trying to stay clean. You've changed so much, and deep inside you whisper, "Ya Allah, I'm ready now." But nothing is moving. No answer, no change, no sign. And it's confusing, because when you were lost in sin, life moved faster. Now you're doing what's right, and everything feels stuck. So you begin to wonder, what's the point of trying so hard if I'm still in the same place? You start to question yourself. You question your du'as, and sometimes you even question if Allah is listening. But beloved soul, listen gently. You see your effort, you see your behavior, you see the surface. But Allah sees something far deeper. He sees your soul's alignment, not just your outer habits. He sees whether your heart is truly trusting or still waiting with frustration. He sees whether you're asking for blessings with gratitude or still expecting them with silent entitlement. Because real readiness isn't just stopping sins. It's not just praying 5 times. It's how your heart responds when your life still doesn't change. It's how you carry silence. It's how you treat others when you feel unseen. It's how you treat yourself when you feel like nothing is working. Are you still humble, still patient, still soft in your du'as, even when they go unanswered? Or do you start to say, "I did all this, and Allah still didn't give me what I want"? Because that's not trust, that's not surrender, that's a transaction. And Allah is not a machine you push prayers into and expect instant results. He delays because He's building a version of you that can receive a blessing without it becoming your new idol. He's delaying because He's waiting for your faith to mature from outcome-based hope to unshakable surrender. Right now, you may be ready with your hands, but He's waiting for your heart to be ready too. Because some blessings, if given too early, don't feel like blessings at all. They feel heavy, they confuse you. They fill your heart with pride instead of gratitude, and Allah loves you too much to watch you break under the weight of something you begged for. So He delays, so you can go deeper, so your soul becomes unattached from timing and attached only to Him. He delays because He wants the version of you that says, "Even if I wait forever, I will still worship you, Ya Allah. Even if I never receive this blessing, you are still enough for me." That version of you is powerful. That version of you can carry a marriage without needing it to fix you, can hold success without being destroyed by ego, can walk through life with peace even when the plan changes. And that version of you takes time. So don't compare your journey to others. Don't panic when you see someone else get what you've been begging for. Allah's timing isn't random. It's custom designed for the shape of your soul. Maybe you're not being tested because you're weak. Maybe you're being delayed because you're being deeply reshaped. Your patience isn't pointless. Your heartbreak isn't forgotten. Your stillness isn't punishment. It's all part of the quiet work Allah is doing inside you. So tonight, instead of saying, "Why am I still waiting?" whisper instead, "Ya Allah, I trust that you're not late. You're just still preparing the version of me who can carry what's coming, with peace, with wisdom, and with you always in my heart first." And that's the most powerful version of you Allah could ever write. Lesson 2. Because you keep trying to heal by replacing, not repairing. You say you've healed. You say you've moved on. You say you're fine. But deep inside, you're still carrying memories like scars. You're still looking back, wondering if maybe, just maybe, they'll come back and say sorry. You're still checking timelines, checking stories, checking signs, hoping Allah will send you something new fast enough to make you forget the past. But healing doesn't work like that. You can't bury one person under another. You can't cover grief with a new love. You can't fix heartbreak by forcing it to be forgotten. And Allah knows that. That's why He's delaying the next thing you're asking for. Because He's not interested in replacing your pain. He wants to repair it. He wants to clean the wound, not just hide it under something new. Right now, you're trying to use the future to escape the past. You're asking for new people, new stages, new chapters. But your heart is still stuck on the pages you never really closed. So Allah waits. Not to punish you, but to protect you. Because if He gave you what you're asking for right now, you'd use it like a bandage. You'd grab onto that person, or that blessing, or that opportunity. Not because you're ready to love it, but because you're desperate to forget what broke you. But that's not love, that's survival. And Allah didn't create your soul to survive. He created it to transform. So He holds it back. Until the day you no longer want someone to come save you. Until the day you stop saying, Ya Allah, send someone to fill this emptiness. And you start saying, Ya Allah, fill this emptiness with you, until nothing else feels missing. That's healing. That's real healing. It's not when the pain disappears. It's when the pain no longer owns you. When you remember the past and your voice doesn't shake. When you think of them and your heart doesn't beg anymore. When you walk alone and still feel complete. And that kind of healing takes time. It takes silence. It takes nights where you cry without distraction. Where you finally sit with your wounds instead of trying to outrun them. So maybe the reason it's all delayed is because Allah wants you to meet the version of yourself that doesn't need replacement anymore. The version that doesn't chase closure from people who caused the wound. The version that turns every heartbreak into a deeper bond with Him. You think you need a new person, a new chapter, a new beginning. But maybe what you really need is to stop and feel the ending, to sit with it, to forgive it, to let it break you, just enough for Allah to rebuild you from the inside out. Not patched, not rushed, but reborn. And when that repair is finally done, you won't crave replacements anymore. You'll be ready to receive what's real, to love without fear, to walk forward without dragging your past behind you. And maybe that's the version of you Allah has been trying to introduce you to all along. 3. Because the blessing you're asking for would have derailed the mission you were born for. You've been asking Allah for something, and not in a selfish way. You just want a sign, a moment, a breakthrough, something to remind you that your efforts aren't invisible. You're not asking for the world. You just want to feel seen. You just want something to finally go right. And yet, the thing you've been begging for still hasn't arrived. The door is still closed. The season hasn't changed. And your heart is starting to whisper, what am I doing wrong? But what if the real question is this? What if you're not doing anything wrong? But what you're asking for would have taken you off the path that's actually right for your soul. You see, sometimes the delay isn't about punishment. It's about protection from distraction. Because you weren't just sent to this world to receive. You were sent to carry something sacred. You have a mission that your soul was written to fulfill. And Allah knows that if He gave you the thing you're crying for right now, you might stop walking toward that mission. You might settle too soon. You might get too comfortable with comfort and forget your calling. You might have taken that blessing and started building a life around it instead of building your life with Allah. He saw that if He gave you that person now, you would have turned your energy inward. You would have started pouring into them and stopped pouring into your growth. You would have started attaching your peace to them and not to the source of peace. He saw that if He gave you that success too early, you would have started worshipping the applause. You would have started tying your worth to numbers, praise, attention, and not to the quiet work you were meant to do in secret with Him. You see, the thing you're asking for may look harmless. It may even feel noble, but Allah sees how it would have shifted your direction. He sees how the blessing would have turned into a cage, how the relationship would have become your identity, how the opportunity would have fed your ego instead of your soul. And so He didn't say no. He said, not now, because the mission He wrote for you is too valuable to be replaced by something shiny but shallow. And maybe right now, you can't see the mission clearly, because all you see is your pain, your tiredness, your loneliness. But Allah sees further. He sees the impact your story will one day have on someone else. He sees the words you'll speak, the kindness you'll give, the strength you'll carry. Once you've walked through this fire without shortcuts, and if He gave you the easy path now, you'd never discover the deeper parts of yourself. You'd never meet the warrior that's forming in the silence. You'd never reach the people who need the healed version of you, the one who didn't get everything instantly, but still chose to rise anyway. So maybe this delay is the way Allah protects the sacred assignment that was written on your soul before you were even born, because you weren't sent here just to get what you want. You were sent here to become who you were always meant to be, and that mission is too important to be derailed, even by a blessing that looks good, but would have pulled you away from your purpose. So trust the delay. It's not a block, it's a divine reroute back to your soul's real path. 4. Because you keep trying to write a story, Allah is still editing. You're trying so hard to make sense of everything, to understand why they left, to understand why it ended like that, why the timing never worked, why the door never opened, why Allah still hasn't given you a clear sign. So you start writing your own story in your head. You try to fill in the blanks. Maybe they were the one, but I messed it up. Maybe Allah was testing me, and I failed. Maybe it was supposed to happen, but I wasn't good enough. And slowly, your mind becomes louder than your faith. But here's the truth, softly. You're trying to finish a story that Allah is still writing. You're reaching for conclusions when the pages are still being written in the unseen. You don't know what Allah saved you from. You don't know what chapters are still coming. You don't know what version of you needs to arrive. Before that love, that moment, that breakthrough can even make sense. But the pain makes you impatient. So you keep writing your own endings. You assume the silence means never. You assume the distance means you were never meant for this. You assume the delay means you're not worthy. But Allah never told you those things. Your wounds did. And maybe that's exactly why He hasn't shown you the full picture yet. Because you're still looking at life through lenses fogged by hurt. You're still trying to create a story that ends quickly, not one that heals deeply. But Allah isn't in a rush. He's writing something layered, something that redeems your past, transforms your present, and protects your future. Not just something that makes you feel better, but something that makes you whole. So He delays, He edits, He takes away what you thought would stay. He closes the chapter you kept reopening, not to confuse you, but to correct the story before it becomes your destruction. And if you were honest, you'd admit that you're not really asking for truth. You're asking for comfort. You want answers so you can finally stop thinking about it. You want closure so you can sleep at night. You want certainty so you can let go. But Allah doesn't work like that. Because the moment you try to grab the pen, He gently takes it back. Not to hurt you, but to remind you, this story belongs to me. Not your fear, not your doubt, not your timelines. And the more you try to write it yourself, the more frustrated you'll feel. Because your version keeps ending in confusion, while His version ends in wisdom, peace, and a better you. So what do? You stop chasing answers. You stop begging people to explain why they left. You stop asking life to give you control back. And you sit with Allah, with the silence, with the trust that what is unclear now will one day become your clearest miracle. Your only job is to live the line you're in. Let Allah handle the plot twist. Let Him reintroduce characters you thought were gone, or write you a better chapter without them. Let Him shift the entire story, not to hurt you, but to heal you in a way you never imagined, because the author of your story is not careless. He is Al-Latif, the one who is gentle in His plan. And sometimes the gentlest thing He can do for your heart is not let you see the whole script yet. So breathe. You're not forgotten. You're not behind. You're not being punished. You're simply living inside a sentence that still has more to say. 5. Because you're treating dua like a transaction, not a transformation. You've been making dua over and over again, crying in your sujood, whispering in secret, raising your hands in the last third of the night, and nothing's changed, at least not the way you expected. The person didn't return, the pain didn't disappear, the door didn't open, the healing didn't come fast enough. So your heart is quietly starting to ask, is Allah even listening? You wouldn't say it out loud, but your heart feels heavy, tired, like your dua went up to the sky and never came back down. But maybe the real problem isn't the delay in response. Maybe it's the way you're making dua, because you're treating dua like a transaction, a spiritual request with an expected delivery time. Ya Allah, I prayed, I cried, I sacrificed. So, where is it? But dua isn't a button. It's not a receipt you hand over expecting a package to arrive at your doorstep. It's not a trade where you do your part and now Allah owes you something. Dua was never about getting something. It was always about becoming someone. But we forget that. We rush into it like business. Quick requests, urgent emotions. And we wait with impatience, watching the sky like it owes us a sign. But Allah doesn't work on human deadlines. He works on divine refinement. And while you're focused on the result, Allah is focused on who you're becoming in the process. Because what if the real answer to your dua was not a yes or no, but a shift inside your soul? What if Allah is still delaying it because He's not done transforming the version of you who asked for it? Maybe you asked for a spouse, but Allah wants to make you whole first. Maybe you asked for ease, but Allah wants to teach you how to carry pain with grace. Maybe you asked for a door to open, but Allah is building your strength so that when it does, you walk through it with firmness, not fear. Because if every dua was answered immediately, you would never learn what it means to trust without evidence. To stay soft in sujood even when your heart is breaking. To love Allah not because He gives, but because He knows. So He delays, not to torture you, but to train you. To build a soul that still prays even when it feels ignored. To build a heart that still believes even when it sees no movement. To build a relationship with Him that isn't based on outcomes, but on unshakable surrender. And slowly, if you stay with your dua long enough, you'll realize it was never just about the thing you wanted. It was about the way your voice changed when you cried to him, the way your ego softened, the way your faith grew quiet but deeper, the way you learned to sit in silence without losing hope. Because sometimes the blessing isn't the thing you asked for. Sometimes you are the blessing being shaped by the wait. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize the most beautiful thing wasn't what you got, but who you became while waiting. So tonight, don't stop making dua, but let your dua stop being a demand. Let it be a moment of intimacy, a moment of trust, a moment where you whisper, Ya Allah, I don't need you to move on my timing. I just need you to keep me close while you move on yours. Because that kind of dua never goes unanswered. 6. Because you're still seeking peace from what previously broke you. You keep looking back. You say you've let go, but your heart still flinches at their name. You tell yourself you've moved on, but a part of you is still waiting for closure that may never come. And even now, you're still trying to find peace from the very thing that once shattered you. You replay the memories, hoping to rewrite them. You check their updates, hoping to feel something good this time. You revisit the conversations in your mind, hoping to finally understand what went wrong. But here's the truth. You're trying to pull comfort from a wound that was never meant to heal you. You're asking broken pieces to rebuild you, when all they ever did was cut deeper. You're still trying to find meaning in what Allah already removed. And you wonder why your soul still feels unsettled, why your prayers feel quiet, why your heart still feels heavy even when you smile, because you're not tired from the delay. You're tired from chasing what Allah already saved you from. He took it away because it wasn't love. It was attachment. It wasn't peace. It was familiar pain. And He knew. If He let you keep it, you would have mistaken survival for healing. You would have called the storm your shelter, just because it felt known. So He closed the door, not because you weren't enough, but because He wanted to teach you what enough really means. That peace doesn't come from someone finally choosing you. It comes from you finally choosing yourself. With Allah as your witness, your healer, and your guard. But instead of healing, you're trying to rebuild the same house that caught fire. You're asking to return to a chapter that ended with you bleeding on the floor, and your soul knows it. That's why the moment you get close to it again, your chest tightens, your spirit dims. Your prayers start sounding like pleas for escape, not growth. Because somewhere deep down, you weren't meant to go back. You were meant to rise, to be rebuilt from ashes, to be born again in silence, not return to someone who made you forget your worth. And that's why Allah is delaying the next thing. Because you're still secretly hoping the old thing will come back healed. You're still fantasizing about a return instead of a resurrection. And Allah loves you too much to let you stay in that cycle. He's not being silent to hurt you. He's being silent to sever the thread so you can finally close the door and start building a life that doesn't depend on someone else choosing you. So the delay isn't punishment. It's divine detachment training. It's Allah whispering to you, stop searching for peace where I've already shown you pain. Because peace isn't found in people who confuse you. Peace isn't found in what's unstable. Peace is not a feeling that someone else gives you. Peace is what settles in your heart when you stop trying to resurrect what Allah buried, and instead you whisper, Ya Allah, even if I never understand why, I trust that you know. Even if it hurts, I won't run back to what broke me. I'll run to you instead. And is when real healing begins. Not when the pain disappears, but when you finally stop seeking it from the place it started. 7. Because the delay isn't about you, it's about what needs to move around you. You think it's all about you, that your dua hasn't been answered because something's wrong inside you, that your delay means you're not worthy, or maybe you've failed one too many times. You keep searching your heart, your past, your mistakes, trying to find what's holding everything back. But what if this delay isn't about your flaws at all? What if it's not even about you? What if it's about what still needs to shift around you? Because Allah doesn't just drop blessings randomly. He aligns them precisely, and sometimes your soul is ready, but the world around you isn't. The person you're meant to meet, they're still healing, still learning, still being humbled by Allah. So they don't mishandle you when you arrive. The job you're meant to have, still occupied by someone who hasn't left yet, still being reshaped so that it can fit the version of you that's coming. The path you're meant to walk, still unfolding, still being cleared of the distractions, dangers, and detours that would have destroyed you had you come too early. You see, you're not just waiting for something, you're waiting for everything to align. Because Allah is not just writing your story, He's writing a network of stories that all intersect at the perfect time. And you are just one beautiful piece of a much bigger masterpiece. You can't see it yet, but right now, as you sit here wondering why life is slow, someone else is being prepared to hold your heart. Some unseen detail is shifting. Some closed heart is softening. Some hidden obstacle is being removed from a road you haven't walked yet. And if Allah brought you together too soon, you'd collide instead of connect. You'd ruin what was meant to restore. You'd misunderstand what was meant to bring clarity. So He delays, to protect not just you, but the entire blessing itself. It's like a divine symphony. You're not the only instrument, and if you play too early, the harmony won't land. But when it's all in sync, you'll feel it. You'll know this was worth the wait. So stop blaming yourself for what hasn't arrived. Stop thinking your worth is tied to what's missing. Allah hasn't abandoned you. He's aligning the people, places, and paths so that when you finally step into it, everything feels like it was written just for you. And you'll realize this wasn't just a delay. This was Allah rearranging the universe to hand you something that would come with peace, not pressure, with clarity, not confusion, with honor, not exhaustion. So tonight, whisper this with your whole heart. Ya Allah, I trust that while I'm waiting, you are working, you are shifting, you are placing every piece exactly where it needs to be, so that when it finally comes, it doesn't just reach me, it fits me. And that kind of fit is always worth the wait. 8. Because you needed to finally believe that even silence is a sign of Allah's mercy. You keep checking for signs, looking for movement, waiting for a message, a shift, a feeling, anything, but instead, silence, no clarity, no dreams that confirm what you're hoping, no signs that make your heart say, it's finally happening. And that silence, it's starting to scare you. Because you're taught that Allah is close, that He answers dua, that He comforts the hearts of the broken, but your heart feels quiet. Your prayers feel like they echo in an empty sky. And in your quietest moments, your chest whispers, have I been forgotten? But beloved soul, no, you haven't been forgotten. You've been chosen to walk through a silence that most people never survive. Because not everyone is given the test of silence. Only the ones Allah wants to elevate through surrender. Because silence is not absence. It's not distance. It's not punishment. It's sacred space. The space where Allah is not giving you what you want, because He's giving you something much harder and much more beautiful. He's teaching you how to walk by faith, not by sight. He's teaching you how to love Him without needing constant confirmation. He's teaching you how to stay, not because you're being comforted, but because you've chosen Him regardless. You keep thinking, if Allah loved me, He'd respond. But maybe the real truth is, because He loves you, He's letting you grow in silence. Because in silence, your ego dies, your pride shatters, your obsession with results dissolves, and something truer is born in you, a stillness, a surrender, a trust that doesn't need proof anymore, a heart that can whisper, even if I never get a sign again, I will stay close, because I know Allah never stopped seeing me. That's what the silence was always for, not to destroy you, but to rebuild your relationship with Allah from the inside out, to shift you from asking, when will it come, to saying, even if it doesn't, I still have you. Because that kind of heart can carry any blessing with gratitude, can face any delay with calm, can survive any test without losing connection, and that kind of heart can only be built in silence. So maybe the silence you feared was actually Allah holding you more gently than ever before. He just didn't want the noise of the world to distract you. So He hushed everything, so it could finally be just you and Him. That's mercy. That's love. That's Allah saying, you've been asking for answers, but I want to give you something better, myself. So tonight, don't curse the silence. Don't run from it. Don't fear it. Sit in it, breathe in it, and whisper from your heart, Ya Allah, I hear nothing right now, but I believe you're still near. I see no movement, but I know you are still writing. I feel no answers, but I trust that even this silence is a gift from you, sent to teach me love without noise. And that kind of love is the highest level of faith. So maybe this delay, this silence, this waiting that no one else sees is not holding you back. Maybe it's holding you together until the version of you that Allah wrote this story for is finally ready to live it, not with fear, not with doubt, but with peace, because Allah doesn't rush masterpieces, and what He's writing for you was never meant to be ordinary. So whisper this tonight with your whole soul, Ya Allah, even if nothing moves yet, I know you are. Even if I don't see the path, I trust the one who is paving it. And even in silence, I know you're still choosing mercy over speed. And maybe that's all you ever needed to know.